And we are back, and we just finished watching 28 Years Later. This is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 55 minutes. This came out this year, 2025, and comes to us from director Danny Boyle and writing credits to Alex Garland, who did the original 28 Days Later. This is probably a better successor to that first part. It feels very much in that universe. And again, we're seeing the aftermath of what's happened 28 years later after the initial rage virus pretty much decimated London. In the second one, there was this rebuilding, but then we find out that there are people that are immune to the virus but are carriers. And in this one, we find out 28 years later that the infected have sort of, what's the word I'm thinking of?
It's like they evolved.
They've evolved, yes.
They figured out that they have to eat, and they've also figured out how to breed. And it seems like they've sort of like they've sort of like changed into two different types. There's the ones that they call what do they call them, slow-mos or something?
Yeah.
Which are basically like these sort of really fat ones that just crawl on the ground very slowly and eat worms and whatever they can get their hands on. And then there are the typical infected, which are running around butt naked. And amongst those ones, they have what they call alphas, which are just incredibly large human beings.
And strong.
And extremely strong. It takes several like arrows to put one down.
Yeah.
And those ones are pretty terrifying.
And they're also smart and strategic because it seems like they command the other.
Yes, they're the ones who tell the regular ones to just go out and charge, and then they'll come around.
So in this one, we're introduced to a young man named Spike, who's like about 12 years old, who is, I guess, a rite of passage. His father is going to bring him to the mainland.
They have like a community on an island that it's connected to the mainland through a causeway, which is only available to walk over during low tide.
Right.
When high tide comes, you can't cross it. So their little community is pretty safe. They have like a wall built around it with sentries. And there's a very heavy emphasis on the fact that the UK is basically, the world has given up on it. Mm-hmm. It's just completely quarantined. Mm-hmm. The rest of the world seems to be safe. Mm-hmm. Despite what the end of the second one would lead you to believe. The rest of the world is safe, and they have boats patrolling around it to make sure nobody leaves the island of England. And
this particular little small island is very, what did you say after we saw the film? It's like, what did you say? Like they've gone back to...
Yeah, it's almost like they're in sort of like a medieval agrarian society now where they really emphasize the fact that it's community, but also the film itself emphasizes that they're back to this kind of age of people shooting bows and arrows and guarding castles, and they show like old footage of old movies where
you see archers back.
Where we see archers and people in the fields and things like that. Spike's father is going to take Spike out for, as you said, a rite of passage where they go to the mainland and he's supposed to get his first kill. His mother is not pleased with this, but she is delirious and sick.
And bedridden.
Bedridden. She's, there's something, she's got debilitating headaches, and there are times where she can't remember. In fact, the argument that they have about taking Spike kind of gets washed away because she basically forgets, and when she asks, where are you going today, the second time he just says, oh, I'm just going to school.
Right. And she's fine with that answer.
Yeah, she just falls back to sleep on that one.
What did you think?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's
better than the second.
Oh, God. The second was enraging. It was such a stupid movie as far as how everybody acted. In this one, obviously, people do silly, stupid things, but there's justification for them. Yeah, as I mentioned, Spike's mother is ill, so Spike learns through talking to random people in his village that there is actually a doctor on the mainland, and he knows where that guy is because he saw apparently the doctor, he just sets bodies on fire. That's all he's basically been doing for God knows how long. So Spike knows, doctor, a real doctor. Apparently there's no real doctors anymore. So he wants to take his mom to go see them. So hence the braving the call to adventure and braving the dangers of the mainland, where he encounters more of the infected. There's some soldiers that he encounters who...
A soldier.
He encounters a soldier.
And an alpha.
And he actually encounters more than one alpha.
Right.
But you're taken along for this adventure, and the world is more fleshed out. The world of the 28 days, this England that is pretty much just completely cut off and is now devolved into little villages and whatever, of people trying to eke out a living while dealing with deranged psychopaths running around trying to beat them to death and eat them.
So I enjoyed this. It's still not as good as the first one. I feel like the first of the three, the first one is still the gold standard. It is
I agree.
Still anxiety inducing. This had scary bits. I don't know if I would call it a horror film, though, because it felt more like...
It's an absolute horror film.
I understand that, but I felt like the family drama was the larger piece of this story. And I'm not to take away from the film, but it's just, to me, it was more reliant on this emotional push-pull, how Spike, who loves his father, is also disillusioned by his father because his father ultimately is a human being and has flaws and isn't perfect and makes mistakes. And so he then tethers himself to his mother, who he has just pure love for, who also needs him because of her precarious state, because of her condition. And then, like you mentioned, he goes into the mainland to try to find, was it Kelson, the doctor?
Yeah.
Played by Ralph Fiennes, who's also just doesn't have a lot of screen time, but always does well. He's like the old wise man dropping, truth bombs and doing his thing and being cool. And there was a sequence where I think I turned to you and I'm like, why didn't they do this thing? But I won't spoil it. I think people should go into this blindly. I think I still think it's a good film. I would have liked a little bit more scares, I think, but that's fine. I think, again, I felt like this was more of an emotional piece. The other thing that I found interesting was the bookends in it. I don't want to give too much away, but
the opening sequence is horrific. There's basically a village on the mainland gets attacked by the infected. And I'm guessing the way the infected look at this point, it's still early days.
Right.
Because they're fully clothed still.
But it's interesting because it felt like one of those that becomes infected is an alpha.
He might be. We don't know, because back then when it was like I said, when it was early days, the infected were different.
Right.
They were just running around vomiting on each other or vomiting on their victims, just spreading blood and saliva, whatever. And there really didn't seem to be any kind of thought behind what they were doing. We see that a bit in the second one, I guess, in Robert Carlyle's character.
Right.
Because he is not behaving like a typical infected would. I'm wondering if that just has to be with because he was infected as part of the second wave that came from a carrier as opposed to the original infection. So I guess maybe
that also determines your level of infection.
I mean, this is all just conjecture, but I guess the virus mutated in a carrier and was made it capable of doing more than just infecting people. I wonder if there's
more carriers than just the boy and his mother in that second one.
You don't know. All you could do is just,
conjecture.
Yeah, exactly. Conjecture. You could speculate about it, but there's no proof otherwise. As far as we know, if you had heterochromia, that was basically a sign that you could possibly be a carrier, meaning you have different colored eyes.
Would you recommend this film?
Yeah, absolutely. This was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I don't feel it was lacking in any horror bits. There were plenty of scenes where you are getting sort of anxious and freaked out. I mean, the whole beginning. Then you move on to the trial, where they're on the mainland, and the encounters that they have there. Then the trip back to back to their island, their little island on the causeway, where there's like an encounter with the first alpha that you meet. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the alphas are pretty terrifying.
Yeah, they're like Terminators. They're unstoppable.
They're practically unstoppable, and they one of the things that they showed in, I guess, when they were sort of introducing them, was they showed them all in, I guess, night vision sort of, which added to a level of creepiness. And you just see that the one thing that alphas seem to have in common, or sort of a habit that they seem to have in common, they love ripping heads off, and they love doing it in a way that manages to pull out the spinal cord.
Yes.
Which is
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like a gruesome visual. I mean, I don't know how practical that is. Somehow get the spinal cord out nice and clean, but they do it, and they all do it. So yeah, that was something.
What'd you think of the Kelson character?
I liked it. He clearly knew what was going on. He had adapted to life on the mainland. He was like, yeah, excuse my appearance. I cover myself with iodine. Right. Because the infection doesn't, or the stuff doesn't like it, which is something that a doctor would probably figure out over time. Mm-hmm. He clearly is not interested in killing anything.
No.
He has figured out a way to deal with the infected. That's pretty effective. But
he's more of like a marker or a historian to this time.
Yeah, exactly. He really wanted to show that, I guess, this had happened, that these people had lived once upon a time, and make a monument to all that death that occurred, but also to the lives that the people who died had.
Right.
At least that's what he was saying. He gives like this whole
speech
kind of monologue as he's guiding Spike and his mom through this kind of strange shrine that he has built that's just massive, because so many people have died.
Yeah.
And even when, like, they say that his father talks about Kelson and how he saw him a long time ago, mm-hmm. and how they went to the top of a hill and they just smelled death.
Yeah. And
they looked down, and there he was, just burning bodies, and he looked at them and he just waved in like a friendly way, like, hey, come on down.
Right.
And in the father's mind, he just thought, well, that guy's just gone completely insane.
Right.
But there was
a reason why he was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, there was an absolute reason why he was doing what he was doing. And he wasn't insane. He literally was waving them and telling them to come on down, because he was a friendly guy who wanted company.
Yes.
Like he seemed
like Frankenstein.
Yeah, he seemed delighted that Spike and his mom were there.
Yeah. And he helped him with.
He helped them out.
Remains, and then.
Yeah, he helped with the mom. And there is that family drama element, but that doesn't lessen the horror. In fact, it gives stakes to it.
Sure,
where like actual there's poignancy. And one of the things that is better in this one than the previous one is you care about these characters. I genuinely grew to care about Spike. I cared about his mom. I even care about his dad and the rest of the people in the village. I want them to be okay. And I care about Kelson as well. All the characters.
I liked Kelson, although I was perturbed that he wouldn't do something.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll ever delve into why he is not like everybody else when it comes to the infected.
I wonder if he'll come back for the next film, because it's already in the works.
He has to. I can't imagine they wouldn't return to this character in some way.
I mean, they could do him from years, like decades ago, right? If this is 28 years later, then maybe 25 years ago or 28 years ago.
Who knows? We will find out. Apparently, it's already filming, so
It's supposed
I
to be
think it's
released
supposed
next
to be.
year.
Yeah, I hear it's supposed to be released. So that's a quick turnaround, especially now.
Yeah, I wonder if they just filmed it all together and just decided, oh, we have all this extra footage. Maybe we'll just do a companion piece to it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it because this definitely
he definitely was one of the more interesting characters in the film,
and this kind of definitely was sort of like got my interest back in this world.
Yes, agreed. Because
whereas the second one kind of destroyed
awful.
it. I was just like, all right, screw this franchise.
Yeah. And even though I didn't like the Jamie character played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, I still felt like it didn't. Yeah, to your point, it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the overall piece.
No, I feel like he did a good job as far as you said, he was playing a flawed person. He's this guy who's sort of like maybe like the big man on the island. He's like super proud of his son going hunting. He's the kind of guy that tells tall tales,
right?
Boisterous, hard drinking, going out on adventures, that sort of thing. And this is part of that whole, it reminded me of the whole kind of medieval culture, because when you have these stories about like old time medieval culture, you're talking about legends. Everybody's exaggerating these legends. Oh, I wrestled a bear and I tore its arm off with my bare arms, and it's just okay, buddy.
What was the story? 7 with 1 blow.
Oh, 7 with 1 blow. Yeah. Well, that's like that's sort of like a legend by accident or a legend by omission. But I'm talking about more like, the true heroes like Beowulf's story and things like that. And he's regaling everybody at this party for his son, and his son is kind of like,
Stop lying.
It didn't happen that way.
That was a big thing for Spike, right? He lays down next to the mother and he's like, they're all lying.
Yeah, he didn't. He was
deal.
not. He was not down with that. He was an honest, good little kid.
Yeah. Scale of 1 to 10. What are you gonna give this?
I would give this like a 7 or an 8.
I was thinking about a 7, or maybe a 6. A 6-7.
Stop it! Why? Just stop it.
All right, I'm going to put it somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. It was good. It was definitely better than the second one. It's still not as great as the first one, but this is definitely a better successor to that first story. And again, you've got the... All
right, to make up for your lack of faith, I'm going to give it an 8. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with this.
I enjoyed it too, but it just...
There was only one bit that I would complain about or had a little bit of a issue with, and that was sort of like there was a bit of a tonal shift at the very, very end.
Right, yes.
And that seemed out of place to me. I mean, I kind of could see, okay, this is sort of like, all right,
we're doing this, but...
Yeah, but to me... it was a little bit bizarre, and it seemed out of place with not only this movie, but probably just the whole thing, the whole 28 Days universe there.
I don't know. I agree with that. I think the tonal shift at the end it felt very out of place. I felt like the storyline with Eric really didn't add anything to the story.
I think he was just needed to get them further than they would have gotten on their own.
I didn't care about the baby. I don't know.
That I'm interested in. That I want to see what happens, because this is something new. This is an addition to the infected. And what does this baby mean?
She's probably a carrier.
Yeah, she could be a carrier. I mean, like, we don't know. Is she the type of thing when she gives somebody a kiss, they're going to turn into a maniac?
Right.
We don't know, because that's what happened in the second one. We don't know if they're just jettisoning the entire second one's contributions, but that seems reasonable. Yeah. Or she could just be the kid that is going to cure everybody. You never know.
I don't know. I couldn't have cared more about that. I like the sequence when they're stuck in the top of that attic, I guess.
I mean, that was
interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I thought
I thought
the
their
journey that he does with his mother was interesting. I thought meeting Kelson, I liked all of that. Even though the ending felt out of place, I still enjoyed that sequence. And when characters revealed, I enjoyed that. But
I did enjoy
other
that
parts
as well.
Where I just didn't, like I said, the baby and Eric. I was just like, yeah, you could have missed me with this part.
I did enjoy the ending. I just felt tonally it didn't match the rest of the movie.
No, I agree.
I could see what you're saying with Eric. But no, I don't agree as far as the baby goes. I think the baby is a building block that I am interested in seeing what comes of that.
I'd be more interested in Kelson's backstory, which I think we're going to get in the next one anyway. So look at me. Now I just need to pick the 6 lotto numbers. All right, this is playing on Netflix. And so in spooky season, you should definitely check it out. This is absolutely a worthy successor of 28 Days Later, the original. This is from 2025, 28 years later, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 55 minutes. Again, this comes to us from director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland, who were responsible for the original. And before we wrap it up, we'd like to ask everyone to please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you back here again tomorrow with another review. And with that, we'll bid you all a
good night.
Good night.